I thought I wrote it down when we talked about it, so I can't find it.
Alright, Wi-Fi's back up.
No, I had it, I wrote mine down. I know I did.
I have your stuff over here. I wasn't sure if you wanted me to give it out or not. It's right on top here.
Yeah.
Where the hell is it?
It's thinking. We're having a problem with the internet.
Nope, you should be good now.
It's not coming up.
It's not coming up.
Nope. It's still thinking.
which
It's
one, Nick?
scrolling.
Novus?
Well, we got paperwork.
Give it a shot one more time. You have mine, you said, right,
Corrected
Katie?
agenda. Do you have your packet?
No, thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Harold.
Said you had mine.
Right there.
Yeah, this is you.
Okay.
Did you bring my stuff in here?
Yes, it's up your thing here. Here we go.
Thanks.
I have a couple things for you to sign too.
All right. Steve. I see something outside.
Yeah, I did. Sorry.
I think I remember what it was.
Hopefully gets one.
But I don't know whether it was capital.
If we don't have to print them out, you can use them as we go.
I told him, give me also one of the computers. I'll take it home, I'll use it.
You want a agenda for
Yeah,
him?
this one.
Oh, for Novus?
Yes.
Yeah, then he has to change.
Oh, okay. I forgot you said that.
Okay, that was it?
I told him to pull it from there. Steve.
Go ahead and use it.
They said okay.
Let's go ahead and reset it then. Also, I think they were recording like that. Thanks. Let me go ahead
All small. Slow pace.
Yeah.
Do you want to hit the link below it?
I did do it.
Oh, so you saw the
That's what I used.
resolution?
The, same one as your email password. I can reset
I
it.
have my
It
email
says-
forwarded to me. I don't
You
know.
had about to say go down, man. I thought I wrote it down
Attachments,
though.
those were all the attachments. The resolution, if you want to see the resolution. Why is this chair so light? Is this for like munchkins?
It's still picking up the audio.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is your chair loud?
Just pick it up.
No.
There's a thing right
Who
there.
is sitting in it like that?
Usually pull it to do that.
I think we're just waiting for everybody to be ready.
Just go ahead and put in your password. Don't tell me what it is. Is that your signature? Make sure it's logged up. Alright, Steve. You're all facilities
That's why he's sitting next to me.
Alright.
And so is he.
All right, guys, we almost ready? We can get started?
Yeah.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6, and published in the Asbury Park Press on January 5th, 2019, and revised by email on Friday, January 18th, 2019.
Thanks. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Coles?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Miller is absent. Committeeman Lichtenstein?
Here.
Committeeman Ackerman?
Here.
Committeeman Delia?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. All right, Pat?
This up for discussion. Item 1, just a standard agreement. We're doing for all volunteer groups for the fuel agreements. Just standard. Each
One agreement across the
One
board.
agreement
for
across the
everybody.
board, so everything's equal, everything's the same, they're just gonna be getting that
And
away.
you have all the reporting requirements and whatnot. Okay.
Absolutely.
Good. Do you have any questions?
Oak Street, just going over an item that we've been back and forth on. I spoke with a couple of residents with the Oak Street corridor. They were just trying to make a couple of suggestions with some of the zoning that's over there. I told them that we would go over it, but I think we're going to need a little more time and length. I want to reach out to the zoning board over there just to go over a few more items, but I just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention so we're all on the same page.
Okay.
But if anybody has any comments or questions, I can probably answer.
No, we'll wait till you have all the information.
Yeah, okay. 2019 road projects. We have a couple of items that are pending from 2018 that are going to be finished in 2019, but we need to look into preparing what we are looking to accomplish for the end of 2019, 2020. So what I'm asking is that, for the mayor committee to just kind of collectively get together and just give me some ideas and some thoughts of what we could potentially be doing. So if we can kind of bring something together, that'd be great. That's that. And then we have from Sergeant Work, we have two that I just want to bring to everybody's attention. Is Corporate Road and Paco Way. Corporate Road, the recommendation is a result of a field investigation conducted in parking concerns at Corporate Road West. The recommendation from Sergeant Work is that the westbound, the entire length of Tobin Avenue, parking will be allowed on both sides of the roadway facing westbound unless posted otherwise in the event. And as for Paco Way, the recommendation is parking will be allowed on both sides of the roadway facing southbound unless posted otherwise. And both of these were obviously.
Did you say Pico Road again? Pico Way, the what?
It will be both. It'll be parking will be allowed on both sides.
We're going to be making it one way.
Frank's recommendation. That's what I'm saying. Frank's recommendation is southbound to Corporate Road West will be parking will be allowed on both sides of the roadway facing southbound unless posted otherwise by PD.
That would mean making the street one way.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that was recommended by Frank, approved by the chief, and that's.
I asked Frank to look into this because I got several calls over the last few months about problems over there, and requesting just that to go one way. So I sent the info over to Frank, asked him to do an independent assessment, and see what he's come back with.
I think the most recent one, Mr. Mayor, was the actual. We had a truck stuck on the road because we had bad jam. So this would actually alleviate that.
Any questions, comments? Yes, no?
So Corporate Road itself, two-side parking?
One way with parking on both sides.
Yes.
Okay, and the stores that are happy with it, because the school there, they have, they don't, some of the businesses there complain about parking on the other side.
Mhm.
So
Well,
the school
part
doesn't
of the
allow-
problem is because the
'cause it was
parking on
two-way.
two sides is two-way.
Okay,
Right.
but I'm
If you
saying
make
they're
it
happy
one
with
way,
it.
you can have the parking on both
Both
sides.
sides.
Increase the parking, decrease the traffic, and increase the safety.
Did we
Hence the
communicate?
traffic and safety.
Did we communicate with the banquet hall over there at Pico Way?
From my understanding is Frank took care of it, all the background, and that was brought up, and that's why the suggestion was made.
And he spoke to them?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. Let's
Yeah,
confirm
that's
with
what I wanna
them
know.
that they're on board. If he
Yeah.
did say that they did it, let's prepare it for the next
No problem.
meeting. If
Okay.
he said he hadn't, let's, take the time to reach out.
I want to know,
Is it just my last name, first name?
Committeeman Miller, Deputy Mayor Miller is not here, so I'm going to ask his question. Was there a survey taken of the people that they want this?
That's what we just asked Frank.
Okay.
That's what he's going to ask for, exactly.
Harold, the cleanup ordinance. You want to touch on this?
Sure. Mayor, you asked about there were some stragglers that occurred as a result of the codification of the adoption of the master plan ordinances. There were several that were referenced by coded systems that Katie had. They were sent to the TNM. TNM came back, gave us a memo, rough drafted an ordinance to clean up, that's why I call it, clean up the ordinances. There were 7 specific things that were picked up, and I outlined those in an email to you, Mayor. Probably the more significant one was off-street parking. There was a section 18807B3 said one off-street space for every 300 square feet of a business or professional. We adopted an ordinance in 2017 that lowered it to one space to 250 square feet. But when the master plan was adopted, they readopted ordinances from the old one. That ordinance change down to 1 to 250 was done during the course of the master plan review. The planners used the old ordinance, didn't pick up the one we had adopted. So this is a cleanup to put back in place the idea, so there's no question that what we're doing is one parking space off-street for 250 square feet in businesses. This is what the ordinance that we adopted, it just got lost in the shuffle as they adopted that. The second one was they missed the riparian buffer conservation overlay zone. That wasn't referenced as a zone, they're adding it back in. The third one was section 18901B was repealed in its entirety and replaced. When it went back in, they dropped two subparagraphs, B3 and B4. They should have been included. They deal with split lots and boundaries between zoning districts. It wasn't meant to be taken out. It just got lost in the shuffle as they codified it back in. This puts B3 and subparagraphs B3 and B4 back in. Section 181021, subparagraph F, the number 6 was skipped. Coded index put it back in, and just the number was missing. The schedule of general regulations missed a number of zones that were created or deleted. They've redone the schedule of general regulations, and that's attached to the proposed ordinance. Coded systems removed 10B and R10B and R20A as zones. We readopted those zones. They're put back in by way of this ordinance. And then finally, there were several references in the UDO, as coded systems put it back in, of zoning districts that had been eliminated. They were back in, and they don't have a preference. There's R40B, for example, I don't think doesn't work as a zone anymore. They had a reference in some of their other sections of the ordinance that referred to it. These are deleting them and taking them out. That's the entirety of that's the cleanup. It happens when...
I understand. It's a big document, and there's only 7.
And there's cross-references. Coded Systems picks it up because they...
Let me ask you this. When this is done, this will make the ordinances identical to what the master plan said.
Yes.
There was nothing that is being done on this that will change what the master plan intended.
That is correct.
This is strictly being put into place because from when the master plan was adopted and it was turned into ordinances, there were several items that were mistaken.
Yes.
Either left out or included by mistake. The company that does the codification went through it again to verify it. They noticed it, so they came back to us. We had T&M verify everything, and then come back to us with this list of 7 that we're going to adopt, hopefully, to make everything clean.
That is correct. They're essentially typographical errors. There's no substantive changes in anything. It's back to the way it was supposed to be. We don't touch or do anything to modify those ordinances we adopted.
So it is to make sure that the intent of the master plan is put into writing exactly as it's supposed to be.
Yes, I've gone through it about 3
and
times.
If we don't do it, these 7 items are mistakes. So we're going back to clean them up.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Anybody have any questions on that?
Does this encompass the whole town as far as cleanup? Does it encompass downtown, which is a mess?
When I say cleanup, I mean the verbiage in the
About cleaning up the
ordinance.
language that was
Yeah.
put in.
That was the reference. We just coined that as a phrase because it wasn't making substantive changes. It was fixing things like a reference to a zone that doesn't exist anymore. It just got.
I'm a little annoyed with what is the rule on these cardboard boxes? Don't they have to break them down before they put them in a dumpster? These dumpsters are overflowing because the boxes are all not collapsed.
All right, let's hold on to that 1 second. So as far as the ordinance for this goes, let's go ahead with it, put it on for the next meeting.
Fine.
That takes care of that end of it anyway. So Mike, to my knowledge is that the boxes are supposed to be broken up and stay. Talking about for downtown?
Yeah.
All right, well, what we're hoping, we're looking at an alternative for having some type of a compactor
Second Street
down there.
parking lot between First and Second is a mess with wooden boxes blowing all over. The whole downtown needs cleaning up. I don't know what we need to do. I mean, we've tried a lot of things.
Well, the idea that Pat and I had last year about putting a dumpster downtown, a compactor rather, would eliminate the cans clogging up the streets, and would also eliminate the need for them to stack the boxes waiting for somebody to pick them up.
Well, that-
They could be taken over.
I mean, that's,
But I think in the meantime, we should probably ask our code enforcement to just pay a little bit more attention downtown, especially with, I agree with the cardboard. I've spent many nights when I had a show at the Strand, going outside and cleaning up cardboard and stuff that had blown from different businesses. So I agree with you that it's an issue. Let's see, hopefully our idea will pan out.
Correct.
And in the meantime, though, we need to do something for the situation as it is.
thank you.
I had one item I wanted to bring up, and that's got to do with sidewalks in the industrial park. I know that there was a lot of concern about forcing businesses and schools and whatnot to put in sidewalks. I know part of the thing was, well, let's put it this way. I think we need to do something. I spent 25 years at that industrial park. I used to walk the roads for getting rid of this, and I stopped because I was afraid sometimes of the trucks and everything else. I think it's a problem. But I also think that there's a way in between, and I'd like to suggest that rather than the concrete sidewalk that we put in residential areas, we follow the lead, what they did over the Cedar Bridge campus, and that's by using the asphalt walkways. You can turn them around if you don't have to take down a tree or a pole or something. You don't have to move things around.
Wider.
Wider. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it's what, $7 or $8 a square foot for asphalt versus $51 a square foot for concrete. So I don't think we're putting that big of an obligation on. It's also something I want the township to look into. I would like to see us potentially put those paths throughout a lot of the industrial park, because I was down there the other day at lunchtime, and there's people out there walking, especially now that parking is allowed. It's just, I think for the benefit of the park, long-term, and for our own safety.
Make it wide enough to accommodate a bike.
Yeah.
Anything that we're doing, at least.
All right, so
Anything that the town's doing, at least, we should make almost like a bike or a...
All right, no, we can do that. So, I mean, do you guys agree with that? Is there any concerns?
I'm fine with it. I think it's a great compromise. I'm just, the only concern is the maintenance of it. So it needs a lot more maintenance than a lot less durable than concrete.
Well, you're not going to have cars driving.
Yeah.
I understand.
Right.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Or
You
trucks.
will. No, you know
No,
we will.
it may not be, but the Cedar Bridge paths have been in there for 15 years, and they're still intact and in good shape, if they're done properly. And it's something that, at some point in time, we maybe even have Public Works do some of it. I think as important as it is to put sidewalks in town for people to get around, whether you want schools or don't want schools in the industrial park, they're there. But it's not just for the kids who are walking around. You've got employees and vendors, and I think it's just something that we need to make it official.
I'm going with it.
Any questions? Okay. Let's go to property requests.
Howard,
1051.01.
oh, you got that?
Yeah, I got 1051. 1051.01 was a request that was made by Rabbi Steinhardt. He's the dean of Heder Tzifriz Yisrael. He asked if he could purchase 1051.01 lots 21 and 25. It was looked at, it's in the area where, it's Franklin Park, is that the John Franklin
John
Park?
Franklin, yeah.
There are two lots that he was asking for. I don't know if that was part of what you submitted to everybody, but you can see on this map. Was this something that everybody got?
It is, but it's not. You didn't get that.
Yeah, I highlighted the two lots that they were proposing, that he's proposing to purchase. We met with uniform rejection of the proposal of selling it to him. Tax assessor engineering just said that this is supposed to be open space.
Where is it again? Is it Patrick Park? You said John Franklin. That's what threw me a little bit.
I'm sorry. Whatever's over by Salem, Berkeley, Union, Essex, Rand, all those parcels between Vine and Summit.
That would be Patrick's Park.
Yeah.
That's
That's
Patrick
Patrick
Park. That's Patrick Park. The recommendation that was made by Ed Seeger and Ally was to not sell those parcels, to actually vacate all those streets in the park, because they've never been vacated, then consolidate all the lots into one deed, so that it's similar to, I think, Ally.
Engineering said don't do it, so.
Engineering said not to sell those two.
Right, no, I agree, so that there is no confusion down, that should have been done years ago, so let's get it done now.
The response to the requester is we're not selling those pieces, they're part of open space, they're.
So let's get it taken care of like it should have been done.
And then my question is, do we start doing the vacation of those roads that are in the park, the paper streets that are run through the park?
Yeah, as long as it's
Yeah.
part of the park.
It is.
Yeah.
And Seeger and Ellie were both saying, this is what should have been done a long time ago, sort of thing. It's kind of been brought up now because somebody made a request. And they said, we constantly get these requests. Every year somebody says, can we buy some of these pieces?
Let's take care of it.
Okay. I'll start drafting up the ordinance to do all the vacation stuff.
You can speak now, I can hear you.
Number 7, I don't think we spoke about that.
What's number 7?
Shul, parking shul. Parking shul.
That's not on, I don't know what version you have.
Just that you gave now.
That was the one there.
That was the one there? No, that's not the right one. That's not,
I only go down to 5.
no, that's the wrong version.
What?
No. Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
not on for tonight.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, that's not on for tonight.
No,
Maybe that's the one that you discussed in 250. Is that the one you discussed with 250 and 300?
No.
Okay.
Mayor, it's a secret ordinance that only some people are allowed to know.
I wish I knew about it.
Okay, that's 3 of us.
The next one,
No, I don't know about it.
the next one is for a tax abatement request for 325 7th Street.
This was the old Capitol, right?
Yeah.
All right, guys, here's the situation on this. The Capitol was taken down, and this guy put up an apartment building. Very nice building, probably an improvement along Route 9, but he's coming to us for a tax abatement. To my knowledge, we have never done a residential tax abatement. Now, the only place where this may be a little bit gray is that it is a commercial venture as an apartment building. So I just, there's a formal request for it, we need to get back to them, yes or no. So I wanted to poll everybody, see how they feel about it.
I heard about this. My understanding was that the guy wanted just the opportunity to present with his attorney.
Well, he filed an abatement, so,
Isn't it low-income housing, Mayor?
no, that's part of the problem.
Oh, I thought you told me.
No, what I had talked about was if we weren't able to do an abatement for it, we are going to be receiving funds from this housing fund through the state. And one of the things we can do with that is to subsidize rental units to make them affordable. So if his rent was 1.5 times what the affordability number was, we could afford to subsidize that through this trust fund. It's part of the 2% that we get back from the commercial construction. So we could subsidize some of those apartments like that in order to make them affordable for people. But that's something that requires more conversation and more talk. This was right in front of us at this point in time.
So regular residential.
It's an apartment
building. I know what it is. Is it even eligible for a tax abatement?
Well, is it in the UEZ
So
zone?
I was waiting till you're done, but it is within the UEZ, within the zone, so.
No, I'm not talking about if it's in the zone. You're allowed to grant a 5-year tax abatement on residential?
I've never known resident. We
Apartments.
didn't do it 25 years ago, I know there was a lot of them.
The statute allows it, we've never done it.
Correct.
I wouldn't want to say yes or no. I mean, my understanding was that the guy wanted to come in with his attorney to present to us why he thinks he should get it. So since the guy spent a lot of money, I don't mind hearing him out with his attorney, knowing that the committee's, I think the committee would slant towards a no, because it's apartments as opposed to commercial. But if he wants to come and present, I would love to hear what he has to say. Just at least give him the opportunity to say his piece.
I'm taking a quick read on this, and I'm not even sure. But it says over here that anything defined as a multiple dwelling under NJSA, which this would qualify, but realize that any building that is comprised of 3 dwelling units or more, 3 dwelling units or more is considered a multiple dwelling. So that means that if anybody builds like 3 condos attached to each other, anybody builds anything,
That's my concern, is the precedent that it could set.
I'm just taking, I never even.
You would not be legally bound just because you did it once. There's no legal obligation to do it
And
again.
you could differentiate between
Yeah, well, you
$10 million
try and do that after you've already set a precedent with it. You try it.
Well, look, I'm willing to allow the guys to come in.
I'm willing to have them come in, I'm willing to
And it
listen.
also, it's interesting, because it also includes modernization, you realize.
Upgrading.
No.
It does?
The statute for abatements, you can't renovate a place and get an abatement. If you add additional square footage to it, you can.
You're talking about commercial. Look, read the paragraph that says improvement. Now, I'm not sure what this means exactly, it's the first time I'm seeing it, but modernizing, rehabbing, renovating, altering, repairing, which includes a physical change in existing, but does not change its permitted use. It does not include repairs for fire or property damage. For multiple dwelling, it includes only improvements to common areas or elements for 3 or more dwelling units. For multiple dwellings or commercial, it doesn't include ordinary painting and repairs or maintenance items. So that means if you have a building and you have 3 condos next to each other and you redo all the kitchens and the restrooms, for example, then you come in for a tax abatement. I mean, if I'm reading it right, this is the first time I'm reading this, so I
I'm
don't know the
willing to have
answer.
them come in, listen.
Oh, he could come in, but
Yeah.
if he...
But what you're reading
I think
there
come to the next
sounds.
meeting.
Yeah, let him know that there's a negative slant from the committee, but
And Steve, if you could, or Harold, look into that statute a
Yeah,
little
we'll
bit
be-
more,
we'll look
and,
If I-
I'd like to
if
know
I-
what the pros and cons of it are.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I'll still work with our CDBG and rehab,
If I'm listening
see
to
about
you,
using, some of those
Opening up a
apartments to
can
make
of
them
worms.
affordable.
Okay, we'll look into it.
I'm just reading this for the first time, Mike, so these
Yeah,
are
you gotta study
definitions,
it.
but it
I
looks like
agree.
they're
I
proper
agree with you.
definitions.
Who? That's, just for the committee members.
Each person placed an order.
I'm opening a bag for them.
You can
I'll
take-
share mine with you.
Yeah, you can take my soda. That's all I have.
Oh,
All
I
right,
see your
does-
name on one of these bags.
Does any-
Take
Mayor's
his.
name is on 3 of them, so
yeah,
don't
you
worry
can take
about it.
Mike's, you can take Mike's pastrami
Thanks, my
sandwich.
friends.
No, I don't have it, Sean.
Anybody else have anything else for this?
No.
All right, so we're going to go into executive session. We will not be coming back in and doing any business till we come downstairs. Can I have a motion to go into exective?
So made.
Second.
So when are you eating the food? Executive?
Briefly.
I guess, I don't know.
Okay. You got it.
All right, gentlemen, see you downstairs.